Miami Dolphin fan, let me ask you something. You love the Dolphins? Do you think they are the greatest football team? How about the greatest show on surf? If you answered yes to any or all of these questions, then fins up and surfs up to the greatest show on surf.shop today. Celebrate the most explosive offense in the NFL with this awesome exclusive merch. From jackets, hats, shirts, and more, they have it all. Use promo code FINSTALK and save 15% on your order. Show off your fandom. Don't wait. Go to thegreatestshowonsurf.shop today.
All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Miami Dolphins pregame show on the Fins Talk Sports Network. I'm your host, Bobby Fins Talk, joined by some special company, and I'm not talking about Finstanza, even though he's here. Happy Festivus, Finstanza.
It wasn't such a great Festivus.
I'm going to ask you in just a second, because I see on your Twitter you keep posting some stuff on George Costanza. I'll get to you. But before that, let's welcome, of course, the Beard Sports podcast host, Josh Wingate. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Barry White in the house.
Yeah, there we go.
Good to see you, brother.
At least someone who lives on the Mason-Dixie line showed up on time.
That's right.
Yeah, right.
Talking about that, we'll get him in right now. And, of course, we got Josh Mabry, special guest, Cowboys fan. 2 Cowboys fans we have today. Mabry, how are you, brother?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me. Yes, you will see some Green Bay stuff in the background because I'm at a family's place, and they're all Packers fans except for me. My dad calls it bad parenting. I think I just understood who Emmitt Smith was when I was growing up. So
there you go.
Hi, Courtney.
And so let's go ahead. I'm going to pop in Mr. Brett Lagasse, our other Dolphins fan, or so he says. Just playing. I'm gonna work on this so we'll get everybody in here. Brett, how you doing, brother?
I'm good. You know what? I deserve that shot. I deserve it. For being a realist.
That's what you get, man. That's what you get.
My tagline today, I hope, is just for Evan. Instead of Fire Greer. McDaniel is a great play caller.
Oh, Jesus Christ. On the previous show, I actually wrote on Thursday's show, on the injury report, why wasn't McDaniel's play calling listed under questionable?
So I got a big issue here. We all know Santa Claus is definitely not a Dolphins fan. He's definitely a Cowboys fan.
How dare you, first of all? I just
the Grinch is a Cowboys fan, right? The Grinch is a Cowboys fan, right?
I mean, Santa Claus delivered his Tyron Smith on the injury report like he always does this time of year. So
the Grinch has got to be a Dolphins fan. I mean, and all the heartbreak we've suffered, all the December letdowns. Well, the Grinch always steals our Christmas.
No toys under the tree.
Last year's Christmas debacle. Like, come on,
Jesus, how bad was that? When Staker got to live through that, oh my God, we never. I don't think we lived that day down, eh?
Oh, that was so embarrassing. It's so sad.
Holy crap.
Well, something Mabry says every time we're at work about the Cowboys and the Dolphins being like, what's that? The Spider-Man meme.
It's the Spider-Man meme. It's literally like us pointing at each other. This is literally the Miami Cowboys versus the Dallas Dolphins, basically. This is what it feels like.
The teams because that love to be mediocre?
Yeah, the teams I'm like, welcome. I'm like, dude, just get your hopes up because it's going to be 8-8. Like, it's what it happens.
And they're the only two. They're the 2 teams with very elderly owners who think they know better.
Yeah.
Although Jerry takes the cake. I will put my elderly owner thinks he knows everything up by anybody.
I'll tell you this though, Jerry Jones might get in the way a lot, but I'll tell you what, he does know how to find talent though, and the guys he has there, Dallas does always find some talent. They just underperform a lot.
He fell back into Micah Parsons though. I will say that because we wanted the 2 corners. J.C. Horn and the guy that went to Denver.
Patrick
and then
Surtain.
Thank you. And then, but when they both got picked, which Carolina, good job on just drafting terribly. But then we just fell back. We traded back, and then Michael Parsons just fell to us, which was awesome.
Christmas cheer right here.
It's the day after Festivus.
Yes.
Yeah, Festivus was not great for the rest of us. I promise you that.
But no, this is going to be interesting for a game because Dallas sucks on the road, as we know, saw last week, and
3 and 4.
but these are two. This is going to be a fun matchup at the end of the day, just because we're really going to see the Dolphins haven't beat anybody over 500, and the Dallas came on the road, so something is going to break in this game.
And Dallas, so there's a lot of misconception. Dallas struggled against the run last week against the Bills, but Joe Brady, who I wanted as offensive coordinator when Brian Flores was there because the offensive coordinator he had was just a terrible, terrible hire. But I was big on Joe Brady, and no one knew why, and this is why. He simplifies the offense. He gets it back on track, and the Bills' offense all of a sudden is rolling. They can't get the pass game going? Fine, we'll run the ball. We can't get the run game going? Fine, we'll throw the ball. And Joe Brady is just a very intelligent young guy. He's cut off of Sean Payton's cloth. Like he just that old school / new mentality. It's great. It's fantastic. And what you see with like the Dolphins though, like they can run the football, but how healthy is Achane going to be? They're inconsistent running the football, and Dallas likes to blitz a lot. So it's going to be see how the McDaniel handles that because a lot of times Miami does a lot of wide zone because the middle of the field's clogged up because that's where Tua's high volume passing is. But we saw McDaniel game planned it outside and got Tua to just throw outside last week. So maybe that'll open up the middle of the field to run. So we'll see what happens. But Achane is better running up the middle than Mostert is. I will say that.
Yeah, go ahead, Bobby.
No, you're good. So first off, let me just welcome everyone who's tuning in right now. I see everybody dropping in there. I see Courtney, Christmas cheer. You know, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, ho, 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 all of the above, Christmas cheer. It's Christmas Eve. I am excited everyone is here, and I'm excited to be joined by my friends here talking Dolphins and Cowboys. And, of course, we'll go throughout the league. I'll let the guys continue their conversation. But as we get here, when we got a full house, I'm very excited about everybody here right now.
I'm often excited to be back.
Yes, like as he finally shows his face.
Yes.
You know,
usually I'm trolling Evan in the comments on Sundays while I'm at work.
We needed Krampus. We needed a Krampus. Even though he's Santa with a beard, you know.
You ever happen to notice the only person I don't rile on is Brett? You ever notice that? I take it on the chin with him every single time. Every single time. Of all of the people who's taught me football, I will never go after my buddy Brett. Ever.
I just teach you what I've been taught. So if it's wrong, I got someone else to put it on, all right?
So, like I said, brought it up, and you guys were touching on it. You know, Cowboys and Dolphins, both teams 10-4. Again, Cowboys right now 6th best offense in football, 6th best defense in football. Dolphins number 1 offense. They've been for a little bit now. 5th ranked defense. Without giving a score right now, we'll hold that towards the end. Does anybody see a blowout in any way, or is it going to be a close game throughout? Does anybody actually see? And you don't have to say who. Obviously, we're teasing
the over. I'll put it that way.
Yeah,
I think they'll cover the over.
If it's a blowout, I don't see either way. I could see it both ways. If it's going to be a blowout, I don't see it become a lopsided to the end, like where I don't know. It's like 21-21 towards the end, and then one of the teams turns it over, and then it just starts to get out of hand after that, like in the fourth quarter. But I don't really see a blowout either way. But I definitely see I can see this game getting ugly because the one way to beat the Dolphins is to make the game ugly, to force them into mistakes. And every game that Miami's lost, except for the Bills game, has been a close game. And Miami was kind of forced into the defense's hands. So that could be – I could definitely see this game ending up with like a total points of like 40, 42, something like that. You know, like a 21-20 kind of game. But I could also see this game going the opposite way where neither defense shows up and the offenses just have their way too. So
Dak Prescott – go ahead, Wingate.
No, I was just going to say, I think if this was going to be a blowout, I was going to say a little bit different than what Brett said. I think we're going to see it early on. You'll see the Dolphins get their run game going. And if they're able to get that and Dallas isn't able to get their offense going, you're going to know that the Dolphins are going to be able to run the score up on Dallas. And on the opposite, Dallas's way of playing the entire team is that their offense scores points, which forces the opposing offense to throw the ball. And that's what Dallas is made to do on defense. If we can do that early on, I think we can see a blowout on Dallas's side. But I do agree, either side could have that blowout win, but ultimately I don't think that happens today.
And I think to Josh's point there, I just told our buddy Eric, is a Dallas fan, that he's kind of down on Dallas for this game. He told me he thinks Miami wins 42-17. I said, well, it depends. Because if Dallas gets in the pass rushing situation, it gets Miami down in the sticks. You get after Tua. Tua goes from a top-ranked quarterback to near the bottom-ranked in statistics when you rush him. So that changes the landscape of the game for the Dolphins, and the Dolphins love to throw the football. Now, Cameron Wolf reported on NFL Network that he was told that they are going to lean on the run game heavy, and the Shanahan offense is very well known to lean on the run game later in the season. Go watch the Rams on both their Super Bowl runs. Go watch the Falcons when they went to the Super Bowl. Go watch any of the seasons that these teams have been coached by Shanahan during their success. They leaned on the run in this part of the season. So I could definitely see that. They're starting to a little bit more short passing. So, and if McDaniel's intelligent, and it's going to be a fun match between McDaniel and that defense, I'm interested to watch to see how that goes, because they're going to be playing each other's hand. They know what each other wants to do and how they want to attack each other. So it's going to be fun to kind of watch that chess match there.
And I'll also say a Dan Quinn defense never really has back-to-back bad games.
Right.
So that's something that you can look at. Dan Quinn is probably the best coach on this team. And this is probably the best coach.
That's not even
defense,
probably. It's the truth.
And hey, Dan Quinn and McDaniel have a lot of respect for each other from their time in Cleveland together, or at Atlanta together, excuse me. And they have a ton of respect for each other, and they know each other very well. So that's going to make that a really fun matchup. I think they're going to get the best of each other. I think there's going to be times where Dan Quinn knows what McDaniel wants to do, and there's going to be times where Dan Quinn doesn't know what he wants to do, and it's going to be fun, I think, to watch that.
Well, no one can cover Tyreek. I mean, it's just. I mean, Stephon Gilmore is he's still one of the best corners, but he ain't gonna stop him. Bland, he's obviously set the record for the most pick sixes in the season, which is still crazy. But
he's also a rookie.
Exactly. Well, he's in his second or third.
Well, second year, but he's first year starting though, right?
Right. I mean, that's supposed to be Diggs' role.
Yeah,
so it's supposed to be Diggs's, but I mean, so Diggs could have had the record this year the way the Dallas is playing.
Well, sure.
But I mean, I don't think anyone on the Dolphins. I mean, Jalen Ramsey's a shell of himself. No one is going to cover CE, so it's going to be. And then plus the other two, like Gallup and the other receiver, which is blanking right now for some reason.
Brandon Cooks.
Yeah. Brandon Cooks, thank you.
The most underrated receiver outside of Mike Evans.
And he's back to being healthy this year. So and he's finally gotten that chemistry with Dak. And of course, Mike McCarthy's. This is probably his best coaching call, except for last week. Last week, I think is just a fluke type of thing that happened. I mean, they finally were on the road for the first time in a couple 2 or 3 weeks, and then they go to Buffalo of all places, which is just it's hard to play there. And the Bills were out to prove something, and they did. Yeah. Which I don't know if that's what the Bills were supposed to see going forward, because after that week, I don't know if it was more the Cowboys just not showing up at all, or hey, this is what the Bills are supposed to be to begin with on that. So I just don't know, but I know that the Cowboys have been consistently solid this year, whether it be because the last time they went on the road was against the Eagles. Now, are the Eagles that good? Who knows? But I mean, the Dallas exposed them when they were playing at Dallas, but Dallas averages 30 points and then shuts out their opponent at home. It's just crazy the difference on that. So this game is definitely, every time I look at it, it is a Spider-Man meme, because we know exactly what Dallas is. We know exactly what Miami is. It just depends on what happens when they blow the whistle and they kick the ball off.
And let's be honest here, the Dolphins offense is not, and the Dallas offense is good, and we've seen them ranked high, and they make plays, they score points, but to be honest, both teams have the success that they have because of the defenses, and that's to being honest. So the Dolphins have had where the defense has scored points for the offense and for the last 5 games, and on top of that, the defense has put them in the red zone, first and goal. So the defense is doing a lot of the work for the Dolphins, and we know Dallas's defense puts them in a good situation. So
I would disagree with that early on for Dallas. Early on for Dallas, yes, that's true. But Dallas has been the top offense in the league
Right. No, I'm not
for the
denying
past
that.
few weeks. So I
Yeah,
will
Dak
say
and
Dallas
CD
is
are
also-
on one right
But
now.
their defense still makes it easy for them too, because their defense does their job, and their defense is so well coached, and they run a
Oh, for
lot of
sure.
zone. So when you're talking about Tyreek, they run a lot of zone, a lot of that deep zone, man look zone. So it's a lot of what we saw in Seattle. So I think Dan Quinn will have an answer for Tyreek. Will McDaniel have an answer for Dan Quinn's coverage of Tyreek? With
So-
Waddle involved more, we saw the slants more and the curls more.
All right, so that's a great segue because even though he's the leader of the Finns bandwagon, he is probably McDaniel's biggest critic, and he's been quiet listening through. So that's a great point. If Dan Quinn, who Constanza knows, I like a lot. Before they hired McDaniel, I wanted Quinn with Doug Peterson. He's been a critic of Coach McDaniel, and if Quinn does eliminate the Tyreek factor, who is coming off an injury, he should be better, but he's still coming off a bum ankle. Can McDaniel adjust? Even though Tyreek's on the field, can he adjust and make the play for Jalen Waddle, the running game, which I think is very important in this game for Miami? Because despite how great Dallas's defense is, they struggle on the run. They are 19th in the NFL. So Finstanza, put your phone down, show your face, or whatever the hell you're doing there.
I don't want to scare the faithful. It's okay.
All right, it's too late.
Shit.
All right. Your thoughts. Do you think McDaniel can adjust in this game, focusing on the run, getting to Jalen Waddle, if the defense and then Dan Quinn focus on Tyreek Hill?
It all depends on how the first two drives go. So if the Dolphins are able to either get a lead or able to stay at the same level as the Cowboys, and it's like an even matchup, then I think that McDaniel's play calling will be similar to last week, and he'll have adjusted. If, however, the Cowboys get off to a quick lead, let's say they get the ball, they score 7, the Dolphins, and they fall 10-0 the way that the Bills fell last week, McDaniel is going to throw that running call out the door, and it's going to become let Tua throw it into tight windows, and it's going to be a repeat of what happened with Green Bay last year. I made this prediction. And I said this last week. Whichever quarterback turns over the ball more, that team will lose. It's as simple as that. It's a battle of the McDummies today. It's a battle of the McDummies. Which Mick is going to screw up first? I'm not worried about Dan Quinn. I'm not worried about Vic Fangio. Those are veteran NFL coaches who have proven that they could be leaders. The Mike McCarthy, I don't care if he won a Super Bowl, he had Aaron Rodgers. Mike McCarthy and Mike McDaniel have cost both their teams football games. At the end of and their quarterbacks can have really bad games. So for me, overall, Tua and Dak are the controlling factors of this game as a result of their coaches, because their coaches are going to put them in positions where they're going to make mistakes. And the first quarterback, it's a game of chicken. And whichever quarterback blinks and makes the first mistake, I think the game is going to lean towards that section.
So, he's picking Dallas.
Yeah.
I'm actually not picking Dallas.
I'm
not picking Dallas. For me right now, I don't care what anybody says, and that's part of what I was saying last night about Festivus not being a great day. I made a joke. 2 reasons why it wasn't a great day. One, I because of who I have playing in my wide receiver core and my flex position, I have 2 QBs. George Pickens was on my bench yesterday, okay? George Pickens was on my bench.
35 points, maybe?
What?
Something like that. That's how much he scored yesterday? 35?
Jesus, how many he scored yesterday?
Hey, I had Justin Herbert starting yesterday. I'm out of the playoffs. It don't matter.
Secondly, I don't care. Easton Stick needs to stick to hockey. He had a good game, but anyone with the name Easton Stick should stick to hockey. That's where that's made. I can't honestly. The Chargers always break my heart. No matter what they do, they're going to break my heart. That Titans game is going to be in my brain for the rest of my life. I will never leave my brain.
Stick the running back.
I just checked my work league. I had George Pickens and Puka Nacua on the bench. So.
Jesus, it's the worst thing ever. But no, so for me today, it's really a matter of how they adjust. Because I will admit this. Tua in these games, even last week, he was very systematic. He didn't have to do much. This is going to be, for the Miami Dolphins, I would say this is their biggest football game that I've witnessed them play, more than the playoff game, since I've been on this network. There's more pressure on this because even if they win this football game, whether they win the East or not, they will clinch a playoff spot. It's as simple as that. I think both teams. I don't know if Dallas has clinched yet, but whoever wins this football game pretty much clinches a playoff spot. Like, it's pretty much self-explanatory. So for me, there's a lot of pressure, and when you have your star players on the field, that's where you're going to try and go. So they're going to go to Lamb. They're going to go to Hill. I don't like the comment about Jalen Ramsey.
I was going to ask you, is he a shell of himself?
Because no, he's no shell of himself. The reason why people aren't throwing to him is because no one wants to throw to him. And when they have thrown to him, look at Garrett Wilson last game. The guy was a shell. Why? The guy couldn't catch anything because they couldn't throw to him because Jalen Ramsey was on him all game.
0 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and it's like a 46 rating or something.
Yeah, it's a joke. The guy changes the way you play defense. But for me, the point of today is taking Micah Parsons and Bradley Chubb out of football games because if Tyron Smith's not playing, let's say Austin Jackson, you have to get those guys out. So Tua has to get rid of the ball in 2 seconds. He has to make very quick decisions. He can't hesitate, or he's going to get killed by Dexter Lawrence and Micah Parsons. And Dak just has to be accurate because you could say how fast Brandon Cooks is. You saw last week when he was throwing the ball, he's not 100% accurate. So when he has to overthink the ball a little bit, he overthrows it. So for me right now, it's like you put on the graphic, who's the MVP? Which quarterback is going to stick more to what they're good at during the course of this football game? The first quarterback, like I said, to blink and get away from what they're good at is going to cost their team the football game. It's as simple as that.
It's pretty much Vincenza prove what I've been telling Bobby. It's literally the Spider-Man meme of these two teams. And the last time I can remember a Cowboys, I'll take you back here. The last time I can remember the big Cowboys Dolphins game was when Leon Lett decided to try to recover a blocked field goal in the snow in like the 90s. That was a heartbreaker. If anybody can remember that one.
I still remember the Thanksgiving game. That was the last time Miami beat Dallas, I think.
Yeah, and it was at Dallas, and that was at Dallas. It was weird. Yeah, it was crazy.
Thanksgiving in 2003 with Chris Chambers and Jason Taylor. But Jason Taylor recovered that fumble. That was, I think, the last time Miami beat Dallas, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
2007 is a year I like to forget because Dallas beat the snot out of us that year.
Yeah. Not a whole lot of history, but the history is fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. If anything,
whenever they played near the holidays, it's always weird stuff happening. Like when Matt Moore came in against, I don't know if it was Thanksgiving or not, but when we played in Dallas with Matt Moore, that was actually a fun game in 2011. I think it was 2011, but that was a fun game. It was that was a shootout, and Dallas ended up winning, but we played way better than we expected in a bad season. It's always for the most part, seems to be a fun or wild matchup.
Yeah, I pretty much blacked out in the 2000 when Matt Dallas was just, I woke up and we're 8-8, so it was crazy with all that. So. But no, it's always a fun time, and especially with this one. Yeah, Vincenza does bring up a good point about Jalen Ramsey. I know I did say he was shelled. That's just because he was being picked on when he was with the Rams, so I just still have that in my head.
Yes,
and that's why I bring that up. So I mean, yes, change the scenery does help. I mean, the guy is legit. I mean, same thing with Stephon Gilmore. Change the scenery. He's been solid this year for Dallas, as far as and especially after he turned into that role. But he's been banged up. I think that's why we haven't really talked about, and that's why Stephon kind of jumped around from team to team. But yeah, I just remember him, like the last thing I can remember from Jalen Ramsey was him getting burnt by Mike Evans like 3 times in one game. So that's just what threw off, but everyone gets burned by Mike Evans.
I mean, that's Mike Evans. I mean, it's like Brandon Marshall used to beat the snot out of Antonio Cromartie all the time. But Cromartie was still a good corner, but for some reason he just could not cover Brandon Marshall.
Yeah. But I mean, it basically what Vincenza says. I kind of agree with him. It comes down to the first 2 drives, and to see. I mean, I think Mike McDaniel won't panic, but I don't know. I'm still kind of getting used to seeing Mike McDaniel call games.
Well, let me ask you this, Josh. You've been outside looking in. Obviously, you and I talk here and there, and about the Dolphins and the Cowboys and NFL, everything in general. But you're on the, it's FinTalk Sports Network. We cover everything, but obviously mainly Dolphin fans here, and Wingate's married to a Dolphins fan, so that's his way in. But so what are your thoughts on Miami, like throughout this season? What have you seen, the outsider's perspective, unbiased perspective? What have you seen about Miami? What do you like? What do you dislike? Do you think they have a shot to make it through at least the AFC?
I just like to see them beat somebody over 500 on the outside looking in. I mean, to me, they've been. It just, I mean, the Titans game was weird. I think that was kind of just a weird situation where they got punched in the mouth.
I did not want to go into work that day. You saw what happened to me when I was. Yeah. People don't realize the torture. He saw it there. He was in front of me. I had to hear it all day. all day.
And that's the thing that's the difference between and Mike McDaniel. Shout out to Hard Knocks, which is the best. This is the best season of Hard Knocks I've seen in quite some time. It's very enjoyable. But Mike McDaniel, that is me as an outside looking in. If I'm a Dolphins fan, I like to see that from my coach take ownership to his team. Now, granted, it might have been because you all say, well, that's just because the cameras are on or whatnot. But if your coach is taking ownership, it's like I got to call better. I got to make better play calls. I got to do this. So I just hope when outside looking in, I've seen sometimes where McDaniel seems like he panics and he tries to overcompensate for whatever the score is. I see Vince Danza shaking his head.
He will do that.
But I will say that me and Bobby have talked. On the outside looking in, they need to they need to stick to the run a lot more. I think they try and get cute sometimes with their play call, but I think they need to stick with the run because you have now with Achan. He did the Simpsons meme that one time. Well, if he came into the game, then he left the game. I forget 2-3 weeks ago. But you have Achan and must start, as some people say. You have those two solid running backs and a really solid Shanahan gap calling scheme in your run game, and you need to stick with it and run the ball down their throat. I know it's not fun. People like passing, and you have Tyreek Hill and stuff like that. Tyreek Hill's banged up, and no one wants to see a quick screen and him fumble the ball again like he did against Kansas City. Yeah. So you need to stick with the run. Once you establish the run, especially against the Cowboys, who that is their Achilles heel, if you would say. That is their Achilles heel. They just can't stop the run because they pin their ears back every single play, especially Micah Parsons. He still hasn't figured out run scheme, but he's a freak athlete who just makes up for it. Mm-hmm. But all he thinks is, I'm going to rush the passer. That's it. That's the only play call they have for him. They're not going to do what they did with TJ Watt yesterday, where I was like, why is TJ Watt on the wide out last night? I saw that a couple times. They started to do that his rookie year with Micah, and they don't do it now. But on the outside looking in, run the damn ball, Dolphins. That's pretty much what I see because you establish the run, it opens up the passing game. And
I talked about it yesterday. You're absolutely right. I talked about it yesterday on Finn's Talk today with Fish Tank Hank. The Cowboys, as great as they are, and Micah Parsons, as great as he is on defense, they struggle against the run. And, you talk about the last few games the 4 games that they've lost. Each of those games, let me see, I have it here. The Arizona, Philadelphia, San Francisco, and Buffalo. The Cardinals, as a team, rushed for 222 yards and 2 touchdowns. The 49ers, 170 yards, 2 touchdowns. Philadelphia chipped away with 3.3 yards per carry till they won the game. And Buffalo finished as a team with 263 yards, 3 touchdowns. Miami, the 4th best running offense, they average about 140 yards a game with Raheem Mostert and Devon Achane. Running the ball in this football game can't be more important. This can't be a game where McDaniel becomes a prisoner of the passing game. Obviously if you could get a play, one or 2, 3 plays, whatever, with the great receivers that you have, awesome. But teams like the Cowboys figure it out pretty quick. You're going to have to run a balanced attack, and it's going to be more run until they could stop it. Vince Danza, you've been quiet. What do you think?
What do I think? When something is pretty obvious to Mike McDaniel, it seems that he does the opposite. They do need to run the football. They need to they have to watch. He's a man, like after the Titans game, the first thing he saw on Hard Knocks this week is at 2:47 in the morning, which means he never went home. He was watching the tape already. He's a guy who's a student of the game, and he needs to learn. Follow what the Bills' game plan was. Follow what your mentor Kyle Shanahan does in San Francisco, and you'll have because look what San Francisco, like you said, did to the Cowboys at home. There's a recipe for a win here. Like I told you, if Tyreek Hill plays, I'll put it to this right now. You want a prediction? If he throws a screen pass to Tyreek Hill,
don't do it. Don't do it.
I'm not going to finish that sentence. I swear to God, if I see one screen pass to Tyreek Hill from Tua, who my mentor has taught me is a guy who does not throw well when he's throwing screen passes because he's a platform. He's not a platform thrower. He has to step in. That's when he's inaccurate. It's going to be a disaster game. I want to see the ball going north-south, not east-west. If he starts throwing the ball to the edges, I'm very nervous for the Miami Dolphins today.
What? I didn't. He's a platform thrower. That don't mean he can't throw screens. That means he can because he get his feet on it real quick.
No, he doesn't. When he throws it, he's inaccurate. He's inaccurate when he throws his screens. He throws it behind the guy every single time.
Last week he was actually really good. I said
to Hill.
Yeah. Well, Hill. This is going to be funny. That's actually on Hill because he gets to the spot too quick.
You didn't blame Tua for that one?
And Tua's not.
Tyreek Hill is
that.
too fast. Is his wrong? Is undoing?
Yeah.
That's a crazy thing.
Yeah. So he's too fast to the spot. He doesn't throttle in the screens, but Tua's very good at anticipating screens, actually, believe it or not. He's very good at timing screens, especially when you're going north-south with the running backs behind the line of scrimmage. You know what I mean? He's actually really good at those. But the whole thing with the run versus not run, here's the thing about the Dolphins. Their offense is smoke and mirrors. The Shanahan offense is very good at hiding flaws. That's why Mike Shanahan developed it. It's why him and Kubiak came up with it. It's how they developed it because Kubiak played for the Broncos for a year or two when Shanahan was a coach. They kind of developed the system together to hide a lot of the flaws that they had. So it allowed them to be able to run the ball with average backs, average talent backs. And Mostert's having a career year, which is great. But he's never been a between the tackles kind of guy. He's always been use that speed to stretch you out, find a lane to get upfield. Achane does a good job. Now, Chris Brooks could be a difference maker because he runs with anger. He runs up the middle, and he's got very good power and balance, but we'll see. He's not explosive. We'll see how he does, how he's mixed in. They brought him back for a reason, and they kept an extra back on their roster, him be it for a reason. So they have use for him, just don't know how. But this offense's identity is to throw the football. Their identity is passing the football. They run the ball. Now, McDaniel, here's where he's intelligent. You guys brought up the whole Chiefs game. They were down 14-0. He brought them back. When they were down, he knew that Spags was going to call the defense so that it was going to, hey, we're going to keep everything in front of you. So he called run plays that he knew he can get chunks out of, and he chunked it right down their throats, scored a touchdown. Did it again, touchdown. So now all of a sudden the game's closer within one. So then at the end of the game, between the 20s, they're running the ball down their throats. They take the ball out of they put it in their quarterback's hands and say, Tua, go win the game. Quarterback couldn't do it. So in this case, he's gotten away from that. He didn't do that last week. It was run game. He didn't do it against the Jets both times, the Raiders. It was run the ball in the second half. We're going to get the lead in the first. We're going to run the ball in the second half. So if you're expecting Miami to come out and run the ball, they might. Maybe they changed that. I don't fully 100% expect that, but I do expect more of a game plan that they had last week. Short passes, screens, curls, slants. You're going to see a lot of that. And then it's going to be like a boxing match, a couple jabs, and they're going to hit you with a haymaker deep. And that's exactly what they did against the Jets. That Jets defensive line is going to be the same thing. Dallas is going to be able to destroy this offensive line. This offensive line is not very good. It's never really been good. As long as they get the ball out quick, it's good. If Tua has to hold the ball longer, that offensive line is not good. It gets exposed. And I think that's going to be a problem. And it's played a factor to McDaniel adjusting the play call to get the ball out quick without using as many motions. It's getting screens and all that stuff.
Josh Wingate in the house, host of the Beer and Sports podcast, and I know he's resting his voice, but I'm so thankful for him to be on. But Cowboy fan, obviously married with a Dolphins fan there. Smart, so you've been able to, and you're part of Fins Talk Sports there, so you're all in on all the conversations, everything. Dolphins defense, okay, slowly but surely skyrocketing now, top 10 in the NFL, currently 5th, going against a great offense, 6th best offense, but obviously MVP candidate Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb. I'm going to challenge you a little bit, but I want you, how could you actually see, can Miami's defense slow down, stop Dallas's offense? And how could they do it if you thought they can?
Yeah, Tyron Smith is playing. That's a big part of it. Dak Prescott, historically, without Tyron Smith, just hasn't been the same. And maybe Chuga Duga, or I don't know how to say his name. I'm not even going to attempt it. If he doesn't come in and performs, we also have Asim Richards who could come in and do that job. But we'll see. But I think the offensive line, if you don't allow Dak Prescott time to do his thing, get through his reads, he's been getting better at improving his time through reads and things of that nature this year. But I just feel like Pressure on Dak Prescott is the ultimate. It's the ultimate on any quarterback. But then also stop them early. If you can stop them within the first 3 drives, I feel like their mentality just drops. If you can not, we saw that last week with Buffalo. Once Dallas got stopped a couple drives, like they were out of the game and Buffalo just ran away with it. That's how I feel like you can get into Dallas early. But the ultimate thing is just get pressure on Dak, because if Dak isn't playing right, this offense isn't playing right.
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's what Dak has shown in the past. Like I said, we'll see today if what we saw against Buffalo was more Buffalo or more Dallas in this regard, because we've been expecting this type of Buffalo team all season, and it finally showed up, unfortunately, against the Cowboys, for me and for Josh over there. But we'll see. Like with Tyron Smith being out, where are they going to? Vic Fangio is slobbering at the mouth of where he's going to put Bradley Chubb. I just know with Tyron Smith being out, and Zach Martin has been up and down all season, with him being banged up. I mean, obviously everyone's banged up at this type of season, but those guys have been on the injury report. Tyron Smith, this type of year. Josh, do you remember the last time Tyron Smith wasn't banged up at this time of year?
I mean, it's been a while. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, and we still haven't. We've drafted some offensive linemen. The one from Tulsa, who was the most penalized first round pick I think ever out of college. I think that was his like
Tyler
the biggest.
Smith?
What?
Tyler Smith.
Yeah, Tyler Smith.
We
Yeah.
met him last year at the Navy game. He's a nice kid.
Oh no!
I hope he turns it on the field though, because he's a little too nice. Like, hopefully
he's
you're
one of
not
the best
that nice
left
on the
guards
field.
in football. I don't know what anyone's talking about.
Yeah.
Right,
I haven't
no.
really watched him much this year. I'm like, God, I hope you're
He's
meaner
He's one of the
than that
best
on
guards in
field.
football
well.
right
And
now.
But I met him last year. And I'm like, God, dude, you're too nice of a guy. Like, you're mean to defensive linemen, right? Sorry to interrupt.
No. If Bobby does his own like mock draft, and we've talked about it, I'm like, the only tape we had on Tyler Smith, and the only thing they said on ESPN was, well, he's the most penalized guy. I'm like, what is Jerry doing? Because they wasted, because that was their first round pick. Turns out he's pretty good. But Dallas, Mike McCarthy is known for being penalized. If anyone else noticed all the flags that come out during a Dallas game, it's fun. It's really fun.
The same way.
And I want to point out, Mabry just said something. Remember, Mabry sees me at, we've known each other for years now, working for the same company, everything. He just said something. That's how I could show you guys that I'm always working, whether I'm actually at work, I'm working both ways. He just said, I do mock drafts. I'm always working. I'm always doing stuff for the network, doing stuff. He knows that because he comes around, he'll see my paper and he'll go, you think they're going to draft that guy? And we'll start going off, So that's pretty cool. So actually I would love to get Brett's part on this, because Brett, again, I know he's been, new baby and, hustling, working, doing his thing, busting his butt, proud of him and everything he's doing. But obviously hasn't had a chance to come on here. Obviously he texts me and Evan a lot. He loves to torture Evan, but I'm gonna let him torture Evan just a little bit more. But in a good way, because I want to ask, because Tua, obviously, love salty Tua. I like. I want to see that come out. But this season, he's had a good year. He's been great. There's still some mental absence, but all quarterbacks have those sometimes. But I want to get your assessment of Tua so far this season. What are things that you see? I'm challenging you now, because I want to hear about the things that you see that are good, things that he's grown into, he's gotten better at, and things that you still want to see as the season goes on, obviously before the playoffs. What has, you're like, man, he really needs to work on this.
So let's not do the doom and gloom. He's not the quarterback, whatever. No, let's look at it right now. Like, so far, like, he's the one thing he's done good is he continues to be able to throw the ball into tight spaces, and timing is good. His anticipation, for the most part, is good. He understands different things of how to throw a catchable pass, especially downfield. Like, he still throws a beautiful deep ball like he did in college. That's great. He still doesn't have that laser outside. So the negatives that I see that I want to see improve is outside the number throws. And we're not talking hitches and slants, screens, that kind of stuff, swing passes. We're talking out breaking routes, which are the hardest throws to make. No one understands that. Opposite hash, same hash, doesn't matter. An out breaking throw to the sideline is still one of the hardest throws to make. And it takes, if you don't have the arm, which Tua doesn't, he needs to be on time to those routes better. And I want to see him when I was in Washington watching him, he would get to half the field. And then that's when it would go like, okay, I'm going through my reads. And then it was like almost like he would speed through and then try to get back to the backside. And I'd like to see him just consistently get better at just scanning the field and staying calm. And when the first couple reads aren't open, it's not that he doesn't get past his first read, because there's times when he'll struggle to get past the first. There's times he'll get the third read and then struggle. Like, he'll get through his reads, but then like he'll miss something, and it's like, it's right there, dude, hit it, or he's late to it. So it's like sometimes like he freezes, like I don't know if it's a confidence thing or if he doesn't trust what he sees, but I want to see him work on that. Now against the Jets, the offensive line was terrible. And he did a good job of moving in the pocket, taking a sack. Yeah, it wasn't pretty. Yeah, the offense stalled and they had to punt, but he took the sack. He tucked. Didn't get hurt. Tucked and rolled. Just like, all right, nothing's happening. Just get down. But before Tua would act like he's Mike Vick and try to make a play, and it's like, dude, just tuck. Get down. Jalen Hurts and Dak are big guys. Cam Newton's a big guy. Even those guys will go up, just tuck and get down. They're not going to fight for that extra yards when everything's closing around them. Just get down. No fumbles. I'd rather you take the sack and punt, give the defense a chance, than try to throw it and fumble it or throw an interception. Stupid. The one thing, and Ralph's threw the interceptions, I don't care so much about interceptions because he's taking chances. As annoyed as I was against the Giants and a couple other ones, he was being aggressive. The Raiders one, he was being aggressive, bad decision. You're not going to score points unless you're aggressive. I can get it. It's more of, to me, it's less about the interceptions he's thrown. It's more of the mental errors he makes, especially getting to the red zone. When they get to the red zone, he does good. He gets to the red zone, he's either lighting it up or he's just falling short. And he needs to learn when to check out of the pass to the run, which I know McDaniel offers that. I know that's in that system because you see other people running that system do it. He just has to. It's the same thing you saw for Jared Goff. He wouldn't check out of it. I fear that we might have a Jared Goff, Kirk Cousins level quarterback and not above that, so it's not like that's a terrible thing to say because they're still good quarterbacks. We've seen them succeed, but if he learns to check out of a pass to a run and stop throwing a fade, check out of it, go to a run. And you do not need to be tall to catch a fade, Evan. You just have to be able to beat your coverage because Tua throws a beautiful fade. He does throw an accurate fade. A bigger receiver, could shield it better, but he throws a beautiful fade to where only his receiver can catch it. But when you're talking to a guy who's like 5'9" and has smaller hands, it's not as reliable catching over your shoulder, which is very hard to do. I don't like it because it's a low percentage play, but check out of it to a run, especially when the Titans are running a nickel corner at a linebacker. Run the ball right down their throats. They did that against the Jets. Jets try to get cute like that. They put a safety instead of a linebacker. On that third down, touchdown to Raheem Mostert, bounce it outside. So that's stuff you want to see him check out more, and he did that against the Jets. He did check out to the run on that third touchdown play. You did see him call it. He called it to a run. It was supposed to be a pass. He called to a run. So that's something you want to see more. But he has improved in protecting himself. That's major. That's why he's healthy.
Bobby, you're muted.
Thank you. But I just great points, Brett. Appreciate it. And let Finn Stanza respond in just a second. But before that, again, I want to thank everybody who's watching. We got a full house here, whether you're watching on YouTube, Twitter, or X, Twitch, Facebook. We appreciate you watching. If you can, when you can, hop over to our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. We got Josh Mabry, special guest in the house, Josh Wingate, Finn Stanza, as always, and of course Brett Legassi on here as well. Let's see, Raphael in the house. You got Cap for Life. Good morning, brother. Fins up. Good to see you. The interceptions I really don't have issues with because they basically in punt range, but we got to take care of the ball, plain and simple. No doubt.
The ones against the Jets were bad, though, because it was bad situational play, though. 2 minutes, sideline's going to be protected. So those were bad for me.
Steve Malloy, what's up, brother? RL Lyles, good to see you. Good morning. Back it up, Binge. Thirsty.
The thing you will see with Dallas is they are probably the most opportunistic defense in football. So if you do have a problem with fumbles or you do have a problem with interceptions, you're going to see that exacerbated.
Yeah, you can't.
exacerbated with Dallas, and they're going to take advantage of those situations. And that's what makes this defense as good as it is, because they're not that stingent defense in yards. They'll give you the yards. They become stingent around the 20, but what makes them great is their opportunity that they take away the ball and give the offense another opportunity.
No, and that's a great point because you guys brought him up earlier. Bland, how many interception pick sixes? 6?
5.
5. Okay, it's 5. Oh God,
6 tonight. Yeah.
I messed up. I apologize. That's on me. If it stands up, before we go into NFL predictions, because we're gonna go around the league and then we'll come back here, talk more Dolphins Cowboys. Before that, though, your response to Brett on his Tua assessment.
Overall, I have 3 things to say. Fire Greer, McDaniel's overrated, and Tua is a robot. Let's move on.
All right, you got me on the first one. I was with you.
Yeah, fire Greer.
Kidding.
The third one.
I'm kidding. Okay, 2. Okay, for me, right now, I trust our defense more than I trust our offense, because our defense has shown since Ramsey's come back that they can keep you in football games. Yes, they had a bad drive against the Titans, but they're opportunistic with their plays. Like the last 2 games, they have scored. They've contributed to the offense just as much as the offense has contributed to the offense the last couple of weeks.
Yes.
So for me, this is Tua's. This is Tua's BCS championship game. He needs to show today that he is the leader of this team and that he's not just a McDaniel disciple doing what McDaniel tells him to do. I want to see a big play from him that doesn't involve just shooting it down to Tyreek Hill. I want to see something of a superhero mentality from him where he's spreading the ball. I have not seen a consistent game where Berrios has been involved, where Smythe has been involved, where Waddle's been involved, where Wilson's been involved, where Hill is on the field. If Hill's on the field, he's still not going to be 100%. Be opportunistic with Tyreek Hill, but still utilize Waddle. Because if you happen to notice, Waddle played his best game last week because he was targeted more often. When he's the second or third option, he doesn't play as well because he's not in the game. I feel like he gets distracted. I feel like he's disinterested. But when he's an equal target, utilize him like they utilize in Philly. Like you have AJ Brown, you have Devontae Smith, you have a duo where Jamar Chase is a great player, but you see T Higgins just as much. Utilize Waddle, because to some people Waddle would be a top receiver on a lot of NFL teams, but when Hill's on the field, you don't utilize him as a 1A, you utilize him as a 2. And I think he needs to be as a growth, because Tyreek Hill isn't going to be here forever, but Jalen Waddle very well could be. So utilize him more. And that's what I want to see from Tua. I want Tua not to go where because Tyreek Hill's on the field, that's where he has to go. Like, be inventive today. Be creative. Don't be just doing what your coach always tells you to do. Because if you do that, he's going to make a mistake. He's going to make a mistake today. I'm concerned about Tua today. He's the number one guy I'm concerned about on this football team today.
Well, I also think that's part of the reason, not to interrupt anybody, but I think that's part of the reason that Tyreek sat out last week. I think Tyreek and McDaniel both agreed they don't need him to win that game, and that Tyreek can rest, and that they can get that chemistry back with Waddle. And you could tell they put Waddle in the game plan. And Waddle was playing ticked off and physical, which I know Josh loved Waddle. He was higher on Waddle than I was. I was higher on Jamar Chase because I like that dog, the physical mentality. But hey, I never disliked Waddle though. I've always liked Waddle, and I want to see more involved.
Smith, Chase.
Yeah, so I was so hyped for Waddle, and I was really happy to see like Waddle go out and just like do what he did. And I think it showed that, hey, Waddle was still a fantastic receiver. And I love the fact he did it against the Jets, who the Jets fans were saying before the season that Waddle wouldn't be a number 2 in their offense. And here he was as the number 1, eating them up. So tearing up their DBs.
You get one quarterback that's old and you finally become like cocky. Right. Really, Jets fans? You know how this works. You know how this goes for you.
Not that we have much we can say, but I mean, come on. But like I think they're going to get Waddle involved this week. I think now Dallas comes into this game saying we can't just dial into Tyreek. You have to dial into Waddle too. So I think McDaniel might have actually now is game planning both Waddle and Tyreek in this game, where it's like, hey, if they're not open, you're going to have him. and then former Dallas great Cedric Wilson. Sorry, I couldn't finish that with a straight face. He's been decent though. He's not been terrible.
I
But
mean,
if we
he
get
stepped up. That's
that
what he
was
does. He steps up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
that's
stepped
it.
up. He does well. He's kind of like done some of the nitty gritty work that it goes unnoticed, like some of the blocking and stuff. And he's really taken a lot of River Craycraft and Barrios's reps because he blocks better. Then Claypool's kind of stepped in and done that. So they're going to have to rely on that a lot, and they're going to have to if Waddle gets involved more, it can be a lot better for the offense. Because it's going to force Dallas to back out of the box just a little bit, enough to give them room to run on the ground.
One question I was gonna ask the big Dolphins fans here. That was one thing I've noticed is the underutilization of Waddle this season, and the reason I've noticed it is because I've had him in like a couple of my fantasy leagues and I was targeting him everywhere.
Right,
So I've basically focused in it because I was with Josh. I thought this would be the season where he would really take that next step, and he didn't. Now, granted, he was banged up at the beginning of the season,
Right, yeah.
but he's still been on the field 90% of the season or something like that. I know I'm overcompensating, but like, is it because the play calling is because there's like, oh, we have Tyreek Hill, let's utilize him the whole time.
He's been dropping the ball.
Yeah, it's a trust thing. It has to be a trust thing.
Well, Tua trusts him. I mean, you saw it last week. You trust him. But what I saw, it partially is a trust thing. It's not game plan, because when I was at Washington, I could see the whole field, and Waddle was open a lot. He was torching that defense, and I'm like, holy hell. And I'm like, it reminded me when the Eagles played Washington back in the day, and I was there, and Santana also torching the defense. And he was open, but the quarterback wasn't getting the ball. But like it was like Waddle was open the whole time. I'm like, throw him the ball, Tua, and then Tua like run around and dump it off. And I think it's where it could be a trust thing where he's not trusting him.
Is it he only trusts him when Tyreek is not playing?
Yeah, that's what I think.
Maybe, but he has no problem throwing like a hospital ball to him or throwing him in traffic.
Oh my God, he's gonna get him killed. He will get him killed.
There are quite a few times where he will throw it to Waddle when he needs that first down. So there are plenty of times when he has that. So I don't know what it is, to be honest with you. Like it maybe it's a mix. I think they are pushing Tyreek to get that 2,000, and I think they are pushing and then Tua doesn't quite trust Waddle as much as he does the other receivers. But I think that might have been broken last week is just by, I think McDaniel said, hey, we have Waddle, we're fine. Throw it to Waddle. We have an explosive receiver. And we saw him beat one of the better secondaries for a huge touchdown. And he still has ridiculous speed. And that was after he got lit up over the middle. And he's a tough dude. He's not going to quit.
He's more physical than Hill. Will go,
absolutely.
He makes way more difficult catches than Tyreek does. And if a ball's in the air, Waddle's going to is going to go jump for it. Hill won't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Waddle has done a better job of not leaving his feet when he doesn't need to. That was a big problem with Waddle. My biggest downside to Waddle is he's more of a body catcher. He's doing a lot better focusing with his hands. It reminds me of when we had Kenny Stills, he had to focus. Waddle is a worker. The dude is a humble guy. He will go out and bust his ass in between. And I know he's been working his tail off to get better at catching with his hands and not jumping and not leaving his feet. And I know Welker's teaching him that, because Welker was a technician as a receiver. And I know Welker's teaching him that. So I know he's going to get better, and he has gotten better. And Waddle's one of my favorite Greer picks. So I really think that it's just a matter of time. And I really think that last week was, hey, let's get this chemistry back on track, because we need every weapon we have, and Waddle's a weapon we haven't used. And in a sense, he's fresh because he hasn't been catching the ball as much.
I don't know if it was the Washington game. I can't remember where on fourth. I think it was. I think you said this. I think you actually there was a play. I don't know if we went for it on fourth down and then Tua tried to force it into a window, and you can actually see that very often Waddle's just wide open. Fourth, when you need that first down, whether it's on a 4th and 5 or 3rd. Waddle is he's more open than anyone, and he just doesn't look for him.
He's got less traffic going to him. And I'll tell you, I was with a buddy of mine who's coaches in high school, and he's coached a couple state championship teams, right? And
that's why I'm Jewish.
I love it. But while watching it, he's like, dude, Dolphins should be beating us by a lot more, because he's a Commanders fan. He said, dude, Dolphins should be beating us by a lot more. He said, look, Waddle's open. He said, and now they're punting. He said, that should have been a touchdown. He had our safeties torched. I was like, yep. And I was like, and this is what happens every time I turn on the all 22. You see somebody's wide open, and usually it's Waddle, and they're throwing it to force it to Hill or Smythe or. So I don't know what it is.
Can I ask the Cowboy fans questions? Let's do the reverse.
Yeah, let's do that.
Because I'm curious to know. When it comes to Dak, do you find that he gets too comfortable? Because I watch, but I don't watch it to the intensity I watch. Obviously, the Dolphins. Do you have concerns on how Dak distributes the football?
Not this season. Because once he got that chemistry with Brandon Cooks and he utilized him, now I'm not using Michael Gallup. I think because Brandon Cooks has taken over that number 2 slot and CD has just been on fire. I can't believe I'm saying this about Dak after being even coming into the season. I was very, very suspect of Dak because he's Dak. When they're like, "What do you think about Dak?" I'm like, "He's fine." It's like the Kirk Cousins type of thing. It's like, well, going into the season. Now, right now, he's playing really well, despite the Buffalo. I think it's just more Buffalo. I'm hoping, at least. But I'm really impressed on how he's distributing the football, and with Jake, and utilizing Jake Ferguson after we lost our other tight end to the Texans and Schultz. So it's him. But I'm actually surprisingly, I'm okay with how Dak is distributing the football right now, at least in this part of the season. Now, I kind of get annoyed, and you all are going to get annoyed with him saying, "Here we go," every single time before he snaps the ball. Trust me, you're gonna get tired of it. For me, that watched as much Cowboys football this year, it does get annoying. But if he keeps playing like this, keep doing it.
I don't mind it. But I would say Dak over his career has just been really good at spreading the ball. He has to actually be told to throw to his number 1 more, CeeDee Lamb, because CeeDee Lamb's just playing out of his mind. But yeah, Dak over his career, if you go back, you'll see he distributes the ball really well. There's been games where he'll have 8-10 receivers that have caught the ball throughout the game. So yeah, he does a really good job at distributing it.
Well, how do you guys feel about the Cowboys offense now without like Kellen Moore? Because what I've saw with
much better
Chargers, everybody tries to say Kellen Moore's a good offensive coordinator. I don't think he's good. I think he's so overrated. Josh, you and I had that conversation before the end of the year, and like you saw all of a sudden the Chargers offense when Herbert took a step back. But how do you feel like we know like people questioned Dak before and how he was before, and I even had some questions around Dak. Well, how do you guys feel about like the chances without Moore with Dak running the offense and like the run game itself? Like, is it enough? Is it balanced enough to go forward in the playoffs?
Yeah. So I had the conversation with Ben Albright when he was interviewing with Denver and Miami, and Denver came out of the interview with, can't think of his name right now. Who are we talking about? Kellen Moore came out of that interview and he said he was the worst interview that Denver has ever had. Like, just awful. So us firing him, I felt like was a good thing because he's inexperienced. He doesn't know how the game should be called. His play calling abilities just wasn't there. He just wanted to go as fast as he could, get touchdowns, and score. Which
like college.
Which we all know in the game of football, you take your time when you're on offense because it drains the clock, doesn't give the opponent as much time as well. If you can score, that's great. But if you don't have that great of a defense as well, it's going to put more pressure on them. Even if you have a great defense, it's going to put pressure on them.
Look at the Jets.
So
the only thing. Sorry,
go ahead.
The only thing that I would say that is our red zone offense has definitely taken a step back. We were, but other than that, we can, as the old Bud Kilmer from Varsity Blues, when you control the clock, you control the game. And that's what we're doing this year, rather than scoring fast and then we lean on our defense. Like Finstanza wants the Dolphins to do, is lean on your defense and control the clock. But Mike McDaniel, he likes to score fast. But when you have the fastest guys in the league on your team, you are going to score fast, whether it be in the running backs or the wide receiver position. So the Dolphins are going to score, which is great. I mean, if you score points, that's how you win the game. But that's the only thing that I could say, which I was kind of like, oh no, Mike McCarthy, which we've seen, him blunder the Seahawks NFC game NFC game where they got up and then he tried to run the ball and that didn't work, and then they allowed Seattle to catch back up with them when they had that game pretty much sealed. That's what I still is in my back of my mind when it comes, especially when a family of Packers fans. So I saw that game and saw the misery that it caused the rest of my family. To me, I was like, whatever. You have Aaron Rodgers, go sit in a corner.
Right.
Yeah. So it's like I'll take Aaron Rodgers all day, especially that time in his career.
A good question. We don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know how fast he is. Still probably faster than half the league, but.
By the way, his ankle injury has nothing to do with his north and south speed. It has to do with his cutting. The reason why he's not playing is when he has to stop and make a cut. That's where they're worried about his ankle.
Is he
his
playing
general
today?
speed is.
Yeah, he's projected to play.
He's
projected.
100%.
The only guy didn't play last week. He's playing the Jets.
Holland.
Yeah,
that's why.
Well, that's
Exactly.
Yeah, that's why I thought him and McDaniel, like, you know what? Let's just rest you this week, not re-injure your ankle. We can beat the Jets, and let's get this chemistry back on track with Waddle.
Plus, I called Mike and I said, "Hey, Mike, listen, I'm playing Tyreek Hill this week. Can you not play him?" And I told Bobby that all week. I was
asked
like,
me the same question. Is Tyreek playing?
Call Mike for me and tell him not to play Tyreek Hill. And he listened. So shout out to Mike McDaniel for not playing Tyreek.
You know how many people are in the playoffs right now? Like, yes, Tyreek's sitting. Yes, I might win this week.
Yeah.
So let's do this, guys. We'll come back. We're gonna do keys to victory, predictions, and all that. Coming back, Marissa Marino. Hope you're feeling better. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to you.
By the way, I might say, I'm going to interrupt you because that's what I always do. It's so nice to have a starting left tackle that's actually playing today.
Wait, for what? Like a whole quarter?
Ooh,
I mean, like,
What about the rest of the
I have
offensive
no
line?
faith that
That's right.
Armstead is. And it's not.
Kendall Lamb is great. By the way, Kendall Lamb
has played fantastic. Him and Keon Smith have done their job.
Keon Smith has been great.
I'm fine with letting. Like, I think he might need to retire. I like the guy, but I think
he's the third most powerful player on this team.
His body's failing him. I think it's what's happening. All the injuries are adding up. I like Armstead, but I think the injuries are just adding up too much for him.
What's up with Connor Williams? Is he like done?
He's done for the year.
Out for the year. Out for the year.
And which means they probably either wait.
It's a bigger loss than Armstead.
See, that's the big thing.
Get him on a cheap though. They might get him on a cheap now.
And I know Bobby wants to talk here for a second, but I do know
it's okay.
with the way your offensive line is at the current moment, it's going to play well for Dallas's defense against the run game because I'm not worried about Eichenberg at center with our defensive tackles.
I could put my daughter out there and probably block the same as Eichenberg.
Yeah,
Eichenberg
that's the
has
one
been
thing.
okay. Come on, for a guy who rips Eichenberg on a regular basis, no.
I was the biggest Eichenberg guy.
He is.
I love Eichenberg.
He hasn't been that bad.
Oh no, he's been bad. See,
he's been
guard,
bad.
he's been
that bad. I think
center.
He's been.
You
Would you rather play
you can't
Jonathan
hide
Harrison?
center. You can't hide
Would
him
you play
at
Jonathan
center.
Harrison over him?
No.
Yeah.
You would?
Yeah, I would go find Owen Krutz, get him out of
play
retirement over Eichenberg.
Would you play Ulave? Would you elevate Ulave?
Yeah, I would play an undrafted free agent center that's actually played center for longer than 3 months than Eichenberg. Eichenberg, his tape is absolutely atrocious. His footwork, his handwork, his aggressiveness, his balance, it's all like there's almost no positives to his game.
So this guy,
I'm
Bobby,
not like knocking on the guy, but I'm just shocked that this guy
Bobby,
from Notre
ripping
Dame.
you, Bobby. You've been saying how great Butch Berry's been. Now he's
Butch Berry's been
ripping Liam Eichenberg.
fantastic. He can have one bad one. He can't like create miracles here. He's not Jesus, right? Yeah.
I will say, I first off, but I've been hard on Eichenberg too. You know, I mean, he's done well the last couple weeks. He hasn't been. He's been well the last couple weeks, but let's not pretend he's not Austin Jackson.
Austin
Jackson.
No, last week he got destroyed.
Brett,
he got thank God for Mostert because
Last few weeks. I know the week before. You know, whatever.
Brett, did you see last week when
got beat up
when Mostert had the ball and he was or A-Chain? A-Chain pushed Eichenberg out of the way. He goes, "You're in my way."
That's
Get
a testament
out of
to
the
his
way."
terrible balance. He's not a balanced guy at
A-Chain
all.
was able to knock him over.
Right,
A-Chain
and
goes, "Get out of my way."
But the reason it frustrates me is because we traded up for him over Creed Humphrey. And now we have issues at center, and Creed Humphrey was right there, an all-pro, one of the best centers in the NFL, right there. And we just said, we'll take Eichenberg. We had no idea where we're going to put him.
I'm going to say this right before so Bobby can cut after me. I watched the film, Notre Dame, Eichenberg, left tackle, and Eichenberg came out because he got hurt. And I'm trying to think of Aaron Banks came in and took his spot. and you're like, holy cow, who is this guy? Because he just came in and straight dominated. Eichenberg was like the glory player from Notre Dame coming out. And I said for a while, it's like, this Aaron Banks kid is going to be something special. He's now the left guard for the 49ers, who's just
Dominant.
He's crushing it right now. So.
Yeah, and I was not a fan of Eichenberg when they drafted.
I said Bobby takes over after me.
I'm all fired up.
That's what happens when you got another host on the show. He has the Beer and Sports podcast. He knows how to direct this. All right, so guys, we're gonna do this, and we'll start with Mabry, and then Finstanza, Wingate, Legacy, and then I'll finish it, and then we'll start again each game. Okay. Obviously, we know Rams beat the Saints. Steelers beat the Bengals. Chargers with stick almost defeated the Buffalo Bills, but Bills win. So games.
By the way, that was a touchdown. They should never have. That was. They should have let Shakir score. That was rigged. That was a touchdown.
Oh, the Buffalo Bills
Bills. That should have been a touchdown.
His knee was up. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
that should have been a touchdown.
I agree. Yeah, that knee was up. All right, so the first game we're doing here, Mabry, is the Cleveland Browns traveling to the Houston Texans. 9-5 Cleveland with the number 1 defense against the 8-6 Texans. Texans are 5-2 at home. Cleveland's 2-4 on the road. Who do you got?
Is CJ playing?
No.
Stroud is out.
Then I'm taking the Browns. I'll take the beautiful spiral of Joe Flacco and that defense over, because he's going to throw about 3 picks, but that defense is just legit. And no doubt. I think it's going to be a close game because I really like the hire and the head coach there for Houston Texans. You can tell they bought in, which is what you would want for a first year coach. But I just think the Browns are going to take it. But I think it's going to be maybe a 3-point game at the end of it.
Finstanza?
You have the defensive player of the year and probably the coach of the year. The Brownies are going to win.
All right, Wingate.
Just because my father-in-law is a Browns fan, I'm going to go with the Texans.
All right. Josh, you can always sleep here, buddy.
Case Keenum for the win. Case Keenum for the win.
All right, Brett, who do you got?
I'm going with the Browns, too, because that defense is so damn good. And Joe
Jesus.
Flacco's been doing his job on offense.
Schwartz.
They do what they need to do. So I'm going – and that defense is so talented. I'll go with the Browns.
Don't you guys find that Jim Schwartz is the North Turner of the defensive coordinators? Like the way North Turner was great on offense. They're not great head coaches, but man, when they are coordinators and they focus on their craft, they're really, really good.
Yeah. And I think his ego gets in the way. That's why he flips around to teams so much because he has that. I mean, we saw him almost get in a fight with Jim Harbaugh years ago with that handshake.
Oh yeah.
On that, but that's more also Harbaugh's just a weird dude. But
he's had success with the Eagles, the Titans, now the Browns. So yeah, I thought 100% agree. And the ego is definitely a thing that plays in factor for him.
So I got the Browns as well coming out of this. Next game, we got the Washington Commanders versus the New York Jets. Brett, 4-10 Commanders, 3-5 on the road against the 5-9 New York Jets, who are 3-5 at home. Battle of the worst. Who do you got?
Believe it or not, I'm going with the Jets.
Yuck.
It's going to be an ugly game, but I do think the Jets defense will dominate against the Commanders offense, especially if they want to go with Brissett over Howell. We'll see how that goes. They see the lost faith in Howell already, but I'm definitely going the Jets over the Commanders.
Josh Wingate.
Yeah, I think I agree. I feel like the Commanders are saying, look, let's just suck. So I know Panthers are going to need to trade out of that pick, and let's just trade all we can to get this quarterback that's coming out in the draft. So let's go with the Jets here.
Finstanza.
Yuck. Jets.
Oh, Mabry.
Yeah.
It takes Riverboat Ron 3 minutes to score from the 1-yard line, so I'm going to go with the Jets.
How dare all of you? I'm going with the Commanders.
You don't believe it. You're just saying it.
Yeah. This game was they're going to ask each team, do you want to score? Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm rolling with the Commanders in this one. All right, next we got here, it's a local game for me and Mabry. You got the Seahawks coming over to Tennessee to face the Titans. Mabry, who wins?
It's just because we know firsthand that the Titans can, and plus Vrabel's awesome. I'd love him as a coach. And so I think he might be the Patriots coach next year, but that's just my hot take on that one. But it's at Tennessee. This is a coin flip to me, just because is Geno not playing again? Do we know?
I think he might be
Geno's playing.
Geno's playing.
I just like the Seahawks just have a little bit more. And I don't think is Will Levis not playing?
Will Levis is out.
Ryan Tannehill's playing.
You're gonna lose.
All right, Seahawks.
Kill.
All right, Finstanza. Obviously, you got Seahawks.
No, honestly, no coach. I understand he had one of the most boneheaded plays, but I don't know about anybody you. No one is more entertaining outside of McDaniel.
Mike McDaniel.
Pete Carroll is such a motivator. Like, you saw what that team was doing. Charbonnet, Kenneth Walker coming back. I don't know if you guys watched that game last week. Kenneth Walker, that guy is a monster. That guy is a physical back. I would want him on my team.
I liked him over Brees Hall in the draft.
I know. What's his name? Wanted him so badly, Brett. Oh my God, he's your. Honestly,
He was so angry.
Honestly, the Seahawks are playing. They know right now they have to keep up with the Rams. Are fighting for a playoff spot because basically the NFC South is going to be handed a playoff spot. They shouldn't even win a playoff spot in that division, so they have to fight for it. I have a feeling I want to see 3 teams coming out of the NFC West because the one thing all the teams in, and it's the best thing for the Cowboys. Of all the teams that the 49ers struggle against, it's actually against their opponents within their own division. So the Seahawks are going to pick up the win here because the Seahawks want to make the playoffs. Like, they really want to make the playoffs.
Wingate?
Yeah, I agree. I think Seattle wins. Who's playing quarterback for Seattle?
It's Geno Smith today.
Okay, yeah.
I really don't think it matters.
I don't think it mattered either. I just wanted to know that.
Yeah, Geno's back.
Yeah, and I think DK comes back with a big game here.
Yeah, Locke couldn't get the ball.
Should be good.
Locke couldn't get the ball.
Yeah.
Brett?
I'll go with Seahawks because they're on the outside looking in, backs against the wall. They need to win a very winnable game against the Titans. Titans are anemic, up and down. So I'm definitely going Seattle. Would you get Geno back? I think they're going to have the energy. I know on the road to Tennessee is a little bit of a ride, but I think they'll win this game. And I think they'll control the clock and run the ball right at Tennessee.
Ryan Tannehill's going to throw 4 picks today.
Yeah, that's Ryan Tannehill gets that defense. I don't trust him.
Not a chance.
I throw him at receiver, the great Texas A&M receiver.
So you guys are really. I'm rolling with the Seahawks, but when I found out Tannehill was starting, I almost picked the Titans.
This guy has a man crush on this boy. Holy crap!
On this boy, you were probably had every jersey in the book. You should be quiet.
I
told you I'd take him back tomorrow as my 3rd wide receiver on the Dolphins.
I made too many excuses for Tannehill. I won't make that.
So
how many passes did he even throw at A&M?
No pocket presence. Okay. Brett would even say that Tua has elite pocket presence over Tannehill.
No, yeah, Tua has pocket presence.
No,
like it's approved.
Honestly, I've never seen a guy more. The guy. Oh my God, Tannehill! 7 years of destruction of this team.
It was his fault. It wasn't Philbin and Gase. It was Tannehill.
He did have great head coaches.
Anyway, and his general manager. Anyway,
Tannehill beat Tom Brady, guys. He retired Tom Brady basically to the Bucks. I mean, I will give him that.
There you go. Indianapolis Colts travel to Atlanta. They are 5-2 on the road, the Colts, and 4-3 for Atlanta at home. I'm rolling with the Colts. Brett, am I wrong?
No, I'm going with the Colts. Atlanta is not a good team. I think they have talent, but I don't think Arthur Smith is the right head coach for them. Like Arthur Smith's offensive coordinator, not a head coach. So the way the Colts are playing, they are definitely that underdog. They're headed in the right direction, and they're a scrappy team. Their offense works, and this is the same offense that led the Eagles to the Super Bowl. I am going with the Colts all day.
Wingate, what do you got?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to agree with that. I will disagree that I think he's a good offense coordinator. I think he's just a one-minded person that thinks he can run the ball, can't throw the ball at any spot that he's ever been at, even though he has really good tight ends that should play wide receiver. But yeah, no, I agree. I think the Colts win.
Wait, Pitts and Bijan Robinson actually play football? I thought they were just a myth.
Pitts should be a wide receiver.
By the way, Arthur Smith is more concerned about getting deliveries for Christmas with FedEx than he is about coaching the Falcons.
Hey, he said that's his parents' business.
That's
Okay.
his dad's business. The guy doesn't have to worry about a job much.
It
His
stands
dad is the founder of FedEx. Is Mabry turn or my turn? I'll just take my turn because I like to interrupt. The Colts have to win, so the Bills still stay a little bit further behind. We need all the teams that are ahead of the Bills to keep on winning. Because every
All right.
tiebreaker that hurts the Bills. Every tiebreaker hurts the Bills. So Colts win.
Mabry, do you break the chain here?
No, because
Third
Arthur
chain.
Smith is a bane of my fantasy football existence. So therefore, everything that could go wrong with Arthur Smith, I want that to happen. And Gardner and Minshew is enjoyable to watch. Now, is there a receiver that got knocked out last week? Is he playing? Do we
Was that
know?
Moss? Is that one?
No. For the Colts, he got a really bad hit against the Steelers last
Michael
week.
Pittman, you're talking?
Yeah, Michael Pittman. He walked off the field, but I mean,
I think he might be playing. Yeah, they haven't called him out yet.
Okay, so yeah, I mean,
I could double check. Let me check for you.
Okay, because I do like the Colts, but I mean, all jokes aside about Arthur Smith, they're in the game. I just don't know if the NFC South has had their weekly meeting of, do we really want to win the division?
Exactly.
So because no one wants to win the division, I think the Bucks probably end up taking it. But I just at Atlanta?
Colt is out. Yeah, he is out.
Okay,
Pittman's out.
All right. That could be a difference there because
we know that. We know that Wingate.
If Pittman's out, I'll go Atlanta.
Okay, so let's roll here. We'll stick with Mabry for Packers because he is in their territory right now. Green Bay at Carolina. Does your family end up happy this Christmas?
Yeah, I mean it's Carolina. They've quit. Like even though they beat Atlanta last week because Arthur Smith just loves doing that. So yeah, you can't tell I love Arthur Smith so much. But no, it's the Packers. They still are in the hunt. Which they keep having. You go from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers and then another competent quarterback. I mean, I know he's going through his growing pains, but if you look at Aaron Rodgers' first season, a start when he was a full-time starter, it's basically what Jordan Love's doing right now. So they can't keep getting away with it. But the Packers, just because Carolina is just a dumpster fire right now.
I will say what's crazy is that obviously Packers 6-8, Carolina 2-12. Carolina at home is 2-4. Packers 2-5 on the road. Carolina actually has the third best defense in total defense, which is nuts. Finstanza, are you rolling with Stager and Mabry's family's Packers?
How could the Panthers win? They're probably going to have as many fans as the Rays or the Marlins do at their stadium today. That was embarrassing last week.
You brought up the Marlins.
They don't deserve to win another football game.
Phillies.
They
don't deserve to win another football game.
45 cents, I swear to you.
I swear to God.
If you looked it up,
it's
it was
a joke.
45 cents for their tickets.
To give Green Bay Packer fans a historical lesson, because it's really simple. You'll be able to say after today or as of today that which quarterback in the history of the Green Bay Packers has thrown the most touchdowns in their rookie season. And it is not Brett Favre. It is not Aaron Rodgers. It is Jordan Love. The Packers are going to win.
Oh, man, in a totally different era.
Exactly.
Aaron Rodgers played 15 years ago. What do you mean different era?
Yeah.
He still has to throw touchdowns.
Well, that's true.
Wingate.
Touchdowns are touchdowns.
Well, hang on, rookie year. He didn't play his rookie year. Yeah.
It's first full season. I know what
Wait, he didn't play
Jordan
his
Love did
rookie
the
year?
same thing Aaron Rodgers did.
This is college. You don't redshirt.
Whoa.
Oh, sorry.
He didn't play his rookie year, and Tua was supposed to sit his rookie year. The healthy guy sat, and the injured guy played.
I'm going to interrupt real quick, and I'm going to go the Packers because the Panthers don't want to win.
They have no interest in winning.
They're going to be the first overall pick. So.
Brett, wrap that part up.
Packers, I think, are just they're playing good. They didn't have a good week last week, but they're playing a lot better. They're coming along. So I'm going to go with the more experienced team, more experienced.
Oh,
staff. I'll go with Packers.
This will be a fun game. You got the Detroit Lions and versus the Minnesota Vikings. 10-4 Lions against Vikings. 7-7. They're 2-4 at home. 5-2. Detroit is on the road. I'm rolling with the Lions. Brett, are you?
You know what? I'm going to go with the Lions just because I want to see Dan Campbell succeed.
Yeah.
The Vikings is back against the wall. They're a good team. I think they're underrated. They're trying to. They're not a good team, but they're fighting. They're a scrappy team, but I think the Lions are just the class of the NFC North. So I think I'm going to give the Lions the benefit of the doubt and go with the Lions on the road.
I'm going to change up a little bit because I feel like we don't know what this Lions team is, and it comes to divisional foes, they just fall apart. So I'm going to go with the Vikings here because I truly don't know who they are. And I want to find out today, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I just root for Dan Campbell, so I want to see the Lions win this game, and I want to see them get in the playoffs.
Yeah,
and
I love Dan Campbell. I agree, but I just don't know what their team is. So
yeah,
All right.
great.
Did everybody make their predictions?
No.
No,
Mabry?
I think the Lions, just because I want to see them win the division for the first time since like the Reagan era.
Yeah.
So
That's really good.
it's true. If you go, I think it was like 1992. I think was the last time they won the division. I believe.
By the way,
on
George
that.
Bush was the president, not the.
I know. That's the whole point of that joke. It's just because of like
That's-
a like
that's-
you're
Eisenhower
Canadian,
era.
you don't know.
Yeah. He was just flexing as a Canadian. I know they're presidents.
Right. Right.
Hey,
but no,
let's take a poll. Who's the Prime Minister of Canada? 20
No one
bucks for the guy who
knows.
can name without Googling.
Justin
No one
Trudeau.
knows.
Oh, you're
Trudeau.
amazing. He gets 20 bucks from me.
Yeah, there you go.
What did you say?
I said,
Who was-
which guy can name the Prime
I know.
Minister?
What
of
did
Canada?
Mabry answer? I didn't hear Mabry's answer. Everyone could hear you, Finstan. So.
I said Trudeau.
Trudeau.
Oh, okay, okay.
You guys awesome.
Okay.
Oh my god. You guys are
Anyway, but no, and also too, Josh, the Panthers won't get the first round pick because they owe it to the Bears.
That's right.
That's
And the
true.
Bears will probably screw up and not take a
Ooh.
quarterback.
Not to, yeah, they won't take Caleb Williams.
I forgot about
forgot
that.
about that trade with DJ Moore.
Let me
Yeah,
just
that's
say
right.
one thing about, because you're going to be shocked I'm actually saying this, Bobby. But the Lions, they have a lot to prove. If this was a home game, I think they clinched their division for the first time. They
Upset?
have their ups and downs on offense, but I got to give credit to the former head coach of this team. And he is very strategic, and he's won his team a lot of football games.
Ooh.
Brian, I just know because I have Pickens sitting on my bench and Goff in the lineup, then Brian Flores is reared up for this game. And Brian Flores is going to be fighting for a head coaching job. He wants to get back. Brian Flores is going to make Jared Goff look foolish today, and the Vikings are going to win. I'm telling you, Brian Flores is going to call a phenomenal game today.
There you go.
He's
Upset
going to
alert.
stop the
the
Lions.
battle of the Bryans, Brian Johnson, Brian Flores.
No, but you have to
All
give credit. The guy, honestly, no matter what kind of a putz this guy is, he is a very good defensive play caller.
All right, Mabry, you said Buccaneers will win the division. Do they win this week against Jacksonville?
No, not against Jacksonville, because the Jacksonville desperately needs this game,
Yeah, they do.
and
They can't afford it.
I think the Bucks know that. Hey, our division will just mess each other up. Like it just Jacksonville just is desperate right now. So that's the only reason I'm picking Jacksonville. I mean, Trevor Lawrence did come out and say he's playing. They're playing yesterday. I think they announced that he's playing. So I would say I would take Jacksonville just because they need it terribly. So they're going to coming out with, fire under their butt. So
There you go. Finstanza. Jaguars versus Tampa Bay in Tampa.
The number one pick on the West Coast is going to beat the first pick on the North Coast. Bucks are going to win. Baker
Okay.
Mayfield is I'm
I'll
just
go
saying,
Florida.
the guy in St. Pete is going to beat the guy from Jacksonville. Okay,
We got it.
Baker, I'm very honestly. Baker Mayfield is showing a lot this year, and Trevor Lawrence showed last week he can cost his team a football game, and also Doug Peterson is not. He had a couple of Mike McDaniel moments last game, so
There you go.
I think the Jags are going to choke. I think they're going to choke away this season, even with these easy gimme games. They're going to choke
All
away
right.
this season.
Wingate, who do you got, my man?
I'm going to go. I'm going to go Buccaneers just because they're fighting for the division, and they're at home. So I'm gonna
Good.
go for them.
Do you guys
the way-
feel like the Buccaneers might be a little fired up that they announced that there's interest in Baker Mayfield coming back next year, and that there's mutual interest, and that there's a likely chance he could? Because
Yeah.
it feels like they have a different energy with him. Like they feel pretty good with him. So
I think they're going to bring it. They're going to draft a quarterback, and they're going to have him as a stopgap.
Their quarterback is sitting on the bench right now.
Yeah, there you go. I knew you were going to say it.
My best friends. I have two very close friends who go to the West Coast multiple times a year. They've been grown-up Buck fans. They have no faith in Kyle Trask. They have none. Zero.
I'm telling
Buck.
you.
Baker's
Give that guy
playing
an
really well
opportunity.
this year. also think it's because he has, Chris Godwin and Mike Evans to throw to.
Yeah.
That helps.
Well,
True that.
having a 1,000-yard receiver for 10 straight years is pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So, Brett,
perfect fit.
we continue here. You got the Arizona Cardinals traveling to Chicago to face the Bears. Who wins?
Man, it's tough because neither team's very good. But I'm going to give it to the Cardinals. They're being scrappy at the end. They haven't been. I know the record is terrible, but they've shown signs of life. Like they have something to play for. They gave the 49ers a run. They just couldn't finish the game out, but they gave the 49ers a tough fight last week, and I think they'll beat the Bears. In fact, I think it might be a little bit more lopsided. But that run game going, man, they're a scrappy team. I think the Cardinals have something going. I want to take them.
All right,
Yeah.
Wingate.
I'm going to go with the Bears just because we get that Justin Fields that comes out every once in a while. I think we'll see that here. So I'll go with the Bears.
I'm with you on the Bears. Finstanza, where are you at? Short and sweet would be nice.
Bears. But can I just make a quick point? You want to hear something?
There it is.
Can I go really quick? So on
Yeah.
ESPN, they show this ad. Ready for this? So they always show tickets as low as. So you see $21, $13, $62. The Commanders Jets $7, $43, $25, $49, $27, $31. Then you get to the Dolphins game against the Cowboys, $278. Like that's the starting price for it.
Dallas
Playoff
price.
implications.
Dallas, Green Bay,
Cowboys.
Steelers.
Crazy
Time
time.
those three play.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
gonna be on the roof.
It's crazy. But you can go to a Jets game today for $7. Something like
Mabry, are you rolling with the Bears or the Cardinals?
Yeah, I'm rolling with the Bears just because they've already locked in their number one pick because of the Panthers, and they're not going to tank for Marvin Harrison Jr. in the 4 spot. So even though even if they get the 4 spot, and it's like, hey, we should draft the best guy in the draft, and they're still not going to do it because they're the Bears. But I think I'm with you on. I think this is like this looks like a Justin Fields just dominant performance.
Yeah.
I'm with you guys on the Bears. All right, we'll skip Miami right now because we're going to hold that for right after. We got the New England Patriots traveling to Denver to face the Broncos. I got the Broncos, Mabry. Am I wrong?
No, Broncos are on one right now, even though he had a coming to Jesus moment. That was hilarious how people were like going back for, you shouldn't talk to him like that. And I'm like, he's Sean.
Guys, I'll be back in 30 seconds, okay? I'll be back in 30 seconds.
Okay.
But yeah, no, of how they
Sean
talk
Payton,
to
man.
you can't talk to Russell Wilson like that. I'm like, you want me to show you the Super Bowl I won? So it's just like
Comes from the Parcells error. He's not
Yeah.
going to baby nobody.
he ain't gonna baby nobody. So everyone just go sit in a corner, and let Sean do his thing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, Bobby knows. I wanted him as Dallas's head coach before they hired Mike McCarthy. I've been wanting him as our head coach forever, just because Jerry loves him, so he'll let him do his thing, and so Jerry won't butt in as much because he respects him so much. That's why I want him as our coach. So I'm rolling with Broncos.
I was hoping that was legit when Miami was going to trade for him. I was hoping that would have happened, but
Yeah.
draft picks, whatever.
All right, Wingate, we'll continue with you, sir. Broncos, Patriots.
I'm going to go Broncos. They've just somehow found something mid-season, and they turned into a good team. So we're going to go with the Broncos here.
There you go. Lagasse.
Broncos, they're hot. Just going to ride the hot streak.
I'm with you. I got the Broncos as well. We'll continue with Brett here as we wait for Stanza. Here's got 3 huge games coming up, especially for playoff implications. But you got the Raiders at Kansas City. Brett, is there an upset coming?
It feels like it should be. Kansas City's 9-4 right now.
Yep.
9-5.
9-5, excuse me. So I can't see them losing to the Raiders, but at the same time, the Raiders have beat them and upset them in the past. I'm going to go with the Chiefs, but I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be a tight game. I think it's going to be an ugly game. I think the Chiefs are going to pull it out and win.
There you go.
No, I'm going with the Chiefs. They're ugly this year. So, yeah, I could see an upset, but I don't think the quarterback can upset Patrick Mahomes. So,
Mabry?
Sorry, I was plugging in my computer. Who are the Chiefs playing?
Raiders.
It's at Kansas City.
I mean, the Chiefs. I mean, if they're going to lock away Kadarius Toney in a vault or something, just so he won't be on the field. It's just all the memes and stuff with Kadarius Toney is just hilarious. I kind of feel bad for the guy at this point, just how much hate he's getting for that. But no, you roll with the Chiefs. I mean, Pierce is coaching. It's always crazy when an interim coach takes over, the team just becomes better. I've noticed that. It's kind of weird when that happens. But no, the last time they played at the Raiders, they let the Raiders think they had a sense of accomplishment, and then they took over and won the game. And I think that's going to go this game.
So I am
Kick
going
Bobby
to
out.
Yeah.
disrespectful. I am going to roll with. I got the upset. I got the Raiders winning this football game.
I like it.
It's a divisional game. They give them a headache. I think they could sneak this out. Kansas City has let games slip this year, and I think they do it again. I got the Raiders. Finstanza, Raiders versus Chiefs.
That's the only game I missed?
No, you missed another. I'll get to that in a second. We'll keep rolling here.
Where's the game?
In Kansas City.
2020 is the last time they won in Kansas City, the Raiders.
Say that again. I'm sorry.
Jacobs is playing. Jacobs is back, right? Yeah, Jacobs is back, so Raiders. Raiders are going to upset them.
Raiders, last time they beat Kansas City in Kansas City was October 11th of 2020.
I think Josh Jacobs is going to have a very, very, very strong game.
Well, that's the last time they beat them, period. It's been kind of lopsided ever since, except for 22. It was 30-29.
Yeah.
So
I have a feeling that Josh Jacobs coming back is going to have a big game. They're going to go to
the game you missed was the Broncos and Patriots.
In Foxborough or in
Denver?
In Denver. Mile high.
The Broncos are going to rebound. The Broncos will pick up the victory.
All right, so we'll go ahead and continue. We'll roll with Mabry here. Another big game. You got the Giants versus the Eagles. How does that play out?
As a Dallas fan, I hope he can
The
muster it up.
Giants.
We got to get to to win the game.
Yeah, now I'm going to charge $20,000 to see my face. So, I mean, I'm going to go with the Giants just because I need the Eagles to fall hard.
I've got the upset. I got the Giants over the Eagles. I got two big upsets.
All right, good.
So
because I'm going with the Giants just because I think Saquon's back, right? So,
I believe so.
So yeah, and they're just a different team with Tommy because I like Dable a lot as a coach. So,
Finstanza, do you have an upset?
Only because I feel bad for anyone who I know lives near the city of Philadelphia. I don't want there to be a riot on Christmas Eve. So Eagles, because can you imagine the Eagles losing to there's going to be a blow up. There's going to be a fire in the middle of Lincoln Financial if the Eagles somehow lose to the Giants on Christmas Eve.
They will lose today. Wingate.
I hope they lose. I just don't see it. And I'm the one that has said since they were undefeated that they are the worst undefeated.
You did say that.
One-loss team in the history.
Their defense sucks, by the way.
Their team is just not that good. I think we're seeing Jalen Hurts come back to life. Like, this is the Jalen Hurts that you should expect. It's just, and their play calling is god awful. They don't utilize their talent like they should. So I'm ultimately going to go with the Eagles, but I would love for the Giants to win.
By the way, guys, did you guys hear that crazy stat that this guy, the OC Ben Johnson, if he wants to take a head coaching job, his starting price is $15 million? Like, what is that? That guy's nuts.
That's to keep teams away from the bad teams away from offering them. He's basically saying, "I'm not available unless you have a good situation." There's nothing wrong with it. I agree with it.
Yeah.
Brett?
You know what? Because these Dallas fans are going to kill me for this. I can't see Philly losing 3 straight.
No, I know.
I don't see it. I can't see it. Although it hasn't. The last time it happened, Doug Peterson got fired that same year. So I don't see them losing 3 straight. I think they'll win this game. May not be as pretty as a clean game, but I think they will win. I do think their coordinators are the problem, and I think you saw that how important their offense coordinator was to them by see what he does with the Colts and how they're still in it. So I'm going to go with the Eagles. I'll take the Eagles on that one.
There you go. So we will continue here. Wow, major game for Miami. If Miami could get the job done today, obviously, and defeat the Cowboys, it'd be huge for them.
Right.
If did you just say if? Shame on you.
If
Baltimore at San Francisco. Brett, I'm going to start with you here. Who wins? It's a big game, man. Huge.
God, like I picked the 49ers not because I need them to win, just because I think they will win. But man, this is going to be a tough fought battle. This is going to be probably game of the week. It's going to be fun, but I'm going to go with the 49ers edging it out.
Are we really saying that the 49ers just aren't above and beyond every team in the NFL right now?
No, they
are. They are, and they're going to win handedly.
I just think it's going to be a battle.
49ers go in. They're going to win the NFC. They're going to win the Super Bowl. They're the best team in football. So
I don't really have an argument with that.
49ers win.
Vinstanza, are they wrong?
The 49ers aren't going to win the Super Bowl. They will win the NFC, mind you. He was right. 1 for 2 ain't bad. But no, the 49ers are a different class. I do think that tomorrow is going to be a very physical game. It's to the Dolphins' benefit as a whole because then the Ravens lose that game. They have to travel back on Tuesday. Their rest day is on Wednesday. They're ripe for the picking for the Dolphins next Sunday. And I do believe without Mark Andrews, I think they're really going to suffer tomorrow. He's a guy who would really be necessary in that game. It's going to be a physical game. I actually think it might be a body bag game where you might see the Ravens and both sides might get some injuries tomorrow because it's going to be one physical contest. But no, the 49ers are – the best part about the 49ers is they have a guy who will stick to what Kyle Shanahan tells him. And I think that Lamar Jackson's going to try to put too much on his back tomorrow, and he's going to make a few mistakes. And Fred Warner and Greenlaw and that group are really going to take advantage of it. And the 49ers are going to win handily.
All right. So for our resident Lamar Jackson fan, Josh Mabry from Louisville loves Lamar Jackson's followed his career from when he was drafted because I know that because, I remember that he's been pushing them. So are they wrong? Is Lamar Jackson going to get the job done and lead the Baltimore Ravens to a win against the Niners tomorrow?
He can, because if you look at the NFC against the Lamar Jackson, look at what he played against Detroit this year, destroyed them. Look at how he played against Seattle this year, destroyed them. For some reason, because you don't see him on the field a bunch. This is the only how the Ravens are going to win. I still think for San Francisco, it's just there's San Francisco, there's 50 feet of crap, and there's the rest of the league right now. It's just the way it looks on paper. But if anyone can do it, it's going to be the Baltimore Ravens. I think, because the San Francisco 49ers haven't, until you see Lamar Jackson on the field, you can't duplicate that in practice. That's true. I think Julian Edelman played Lamar Jackson when they were trying to go up against him in their prep for him. So that is the only thing that I would say is because, and when someone on here said, why is Lamar Jackson in the front runner? For one, the Ravens are 11-3 as far as the MVP is concerned, and two, look when he's been hurt the past 2 seasons, and Ravens just tanked because they just cannot function with Lamar. Now, I'm with Vinstanza that Lamar does press a lot, so I still say it's San Francisco just because they just are overall the better team. But I'm so looking forward to this matchup because San Francisco hasn't seen the speed that Lamar does and what Lamar can do.
Well, here's the thing. Lamar hasn't seen a defense like the 49ers. You have Fred Warner who could easily shadow Lamar. You then have 2 edges who could rush and contain him easily. This defense is built to stop Lamar, and this team is far beyond
they recycled DCs. They recycled from where they went from Salah to Ryan, and now their defense even looks better with their current DC. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, Josh, on that. Like again, it's just that's why I'm so looking forward to this matchup. It's definitely the game of the year so far as how the two teams are right now at this point. Not to take anything away from the Dolphins Cowboys because I'm looking forward to this matchup as well. But the Ravens San Francisco, I was just like, whoa. Yeah, I saw that like 3 weeks ago when I realized that they were playing each other.
2 epic matchups going on today.
I'm looking forward to that game. I'm so looking forward to that game. It's going to be a fun game.
So maybe I'm going to stick with you here. Now we're at the Dolphins Cowboys. So before we make our prediction here, since you're a Cowboys fan, I'm going to put it like this. What are your keys to victory or your 3 keys to secure a Cowboys victory against the Dolphins today?
Stop the run, get out early lead. That way Micah can do his thing.
There you go. Quick and painless. Appreciate it. Wingate, I'll let you continue since you're a Cowboys fan. What are your 3 keys?
Yeah. No, I think obviously stop the run is going to be the biggest one for the Cowboys. Win the turnover battle, and also I think win the clock. If they can
Time of possession.
stop you. Yep. So I think having that would be a win for Dallas.
There you go. Brett, your 3 keys to secure a Dolphins victory, sir.
Stick to what works. Get the ball first, protect the ball, get the ball out quick. Short passes, run the ball. Don't get away from that. 2, defense, get after Dak, play physical up front, continue to force turnovers. And 3, limit the mistakes on special teams. The special teams can lose us games. And
Get a new kicker.
Yeah, continue to limit the mistakes on special teams. Because you're going to have to rely on special teams in this game. So that's
There you
my
go.
3 keys.
Finstanza.
Run the ball, contain Micah Parsons, and defensive dominance. No, sorry, those were
You
Brett.
son of a...
I'm just kidding. Just kidding. At least I memorized your stuff.
Yes,
No.
you did.
Okay. No, honestly, for me, the
Jeez.
key to this game is force Dak to turn over the ball. So you have to get pressure on Dak, force him to make mistakes. Tua has to get rid of the ball really quickly, and I mean which means basically take Dexter Lawrence and Micah Parsons out of that game. Like, don't even make them a factor. And really simple, spread the ball. Like, spread the ball around. Like, I don't, between run, pass, same as last week. I want to see 7 or 8 different players on the team catching and receiving footballs. I don't want to see. Tyree can get 200 on a couple big plays, but I want to see every single receiver involved. I want to see a spread offense. I want to just see everyone get involved, but really get the Dak to turn over the ball, and Tua get rid of that ball lightning quick. And I mean lightning quick. Like, take your first shot, go.
So yeah, and then he teased it. He said it there. For me, it's running the ball. Run the ball. Obviously, the Cowboys defense is no joke. With Micah Parsons, who has 12.5 sacks this year. He's an elite defender, obviously one of the best, but they struggle against the run in their 4 losses. I've explained the numbers earlier. They got to do it. Miami's the 4th best rushing team in the NFL, led by Raheem Mostert, Devon Achane, Jeff Wilson, Chris Brooks is supposedly going to play today. Mm-hmm. Run that ball. Run it. And choke that defense up, then get him over the top with Tyreek and Waddle. Secondly, protect the quarterback. Just said Micah Parsons. You have to protect Uno. Give him time. Let him process the play. He's shown that when the defense hits him and rattles him, he gets crazy there and throws the ball around. You got to protect him as best you can. I know it's hard with the injuries, but Austin Jackson's supposedly playing. Armstead's there. They got to do the job. And then, of course, Eichenberg. And then defensive dominance. Yes. The last few weeks, the Dolphins defense has done an amazing job. Zach Sealer, Christian Wilkins, Salt and Pepper, Bradley Chubb, Van Ginkel, and in our secondary, they got to have themselves a day. They have to have a defensive dominant day, and it would be amazing if they did it against the 6th best offense and a MVP candidate like Dak Prescott. That has to happen today. Go ahead, Vince.
If the Miami Dolphins want to win this football game on a loop, they should be playing the Colin Cowherd spot that he did on Friday about the Miami Dolphins, calling them fake. Like, literally, the guy went on a 5-minute diatribe on how that the Cowboys are a real Gucci purse, but the Dolphins are fake because they're from Miami. So they're the $40,000 millionaires, while the Dallas Cowboys are real millionaires. The guy he went to town on the Dolphins. And
Cowherd didn't bring up his 7 divorces every time he makes an accurate.
Look, the Dolphins have the whole stigma around them, right? They haven't beat a good team. Let's face it, they haven't. They fell short against the Eagles. They fell short against the Chiefs. They had no excuse to lose those games. They had no excuse to get blown out by the Bills, and definitely no excuse to fall short against the Titans. So every single game they beat themselves. They got dominated against the Bills, but the other 3 they beat themselves. They had every opportunity to win, and they didn't take advantage of it. And these next 3 games will answer that question. If you want to shut the media up and say we're not phonies, we're not frauds, then win 2 of the next 3. Win the division, get the number 1 seed. All you have to do is you win this week, win next week, and beat the Bills. You beat the Ravens, and you have a chance to jump up into the 1st seed and keep it. You beat the win out, you get the 1st seed. Win 1 game right now, and you get a playoff spot right now. You win these next 2 games, and you pretty much won the division. The Bills have to beat us week 18 in order to tie, but the Bills are in the tiebreaker over us, so the Bills have to win out. But they just won, so they have the Patriots and then us. So it's right there. You control your own destiny. You don't, the fraud talk will continue, and rightfully so. Until you can change that, it's
All
on
right.
you. So
let me ask you this, Brett. Since you're there, you're on the big screen. Who wins and what's the final score?
I've been racking my head on this. Dolphins win 27-24 with a Jason Sanders game-winning field goal. Just for Evan.
Love it. I love it.
Gotta have Jason Sanders slandered.
Overtime game.
Mabry, what do you got, brother?
Cowboys 30, Dolphins 17, just because Dallas only wins when they score 30 or more points. So that's
There you go.
That's the last time they average over 30 points at home, which is crazy.
And just so you know, Miami has not beat Dallas since 2003. Or just take that for what it is.
Every time you say 2003, I just think 8-8 ever since then.
Same with us.
So that's the Spider-Man meme game.
That's right.
I'm gonna go Cowboys by 1 million. We're gonna go in there and just dominate.
God dang it!
Give me a real score.
I'm turning my phone off between Josh and Eric today.
What's 1 million? Can you give a real score, please? That's a push. Give us a real score.
If I had to go with a real score, 1,000,000-3, or no, probably 1,000,000-3 to.
Bill Swirsky super fan at SNL.
I would say
field goal.
33 to. I'm going to say you guys get 17.
So both Cowboys fans have us scoring 17 points. Miami. All right, Finstanza.
What?
What do you mean, what? Come on. Prediction.
Dolphins 34. Cowboys 24.
All right. 34-24.
Yeah, Dallas can't win when they score under 30 for some reason. So.
And I have it. I'm right with you, Finstanza, except I got 4 more points for Cowboys. I have Miami 34, Dallas 28 today. And I think Miami gets a defensive touchdown. I think that's what happens there. So there you go. All of us have it here. Let me see if the comments.
Picks.
Say what? What do you say?
All Homer picks. All Homer picks.
All Homer. Yeah. That's okay. That's all right.
I'm fine with it. It's fun. It's all in fun.
There you go. All right. So make sure it looks like, okay, Chris as 38-10. Appreciate you, Chris. Let's see. She says, Cowboys will have a bad day. Run, few penalties, stop Parsons. There you go. All right. Mabry, for your first time with us, brother, what you think?
Oh, this was fun. It was a great discussion. I love talking football, especially on this Christmas Eve. It's kind of crazy, but yeah, thank you all so much for having me on and shooting the breeze. And I'm loving. Can we just talk about Jason Sanders for the next 30 minutes?
I love Jason Sanders.
I'll shout out to Aubrey, the Dallas kicker. That dude's a monster.
Look, can we actually just say something about Cameron Dicker? Is he ever going to miss a kick?
Dicker the kicker?
Dicker the kicker, man.
Isn't that the social media?
Have you seen his Pro Bowl video?
Yeah.
Yes, it was amazing.
Dude,
That's what happens when you're out of Texas.
Dude, Cameron Dicker was just launching a lot. I'm like, holy hell! Like, I was like, come on, how many kicks can you rely on this kid for? If he misses one, you can't beat him up for it because you got to score a touchdown at some point. Then he makes it. I'm like, holy hell, this is amazing. And this kid is good.
It's been fun to watch. Wingate, I know you're under the weather, but I appreciate you joining in. How you? Any final thoughts, man?
No, I'm just ready. We've been talking about this game for quite some time, ever since we saw it on the schedule, and it's finally coming here to where I can give you that loss for Christmas. So I appreciate it, guys.
Sorry, Miami fans. Leon Lett's not walking through that door to screw up.
Hang it.
Brett, any final thoughts?
I'm hoping that Miami needs this game. They need to show who they are the next 3 games. And in order to win these next 3 games, there you go, Wingate. And
I switched.
So in order for Miami to win the next 3 games, they need the defense to take over. And today the defense needs to take over in a big way. Force turnovers, force mistakes, and force confusion.
There you go. All right, Dolphin fans and Cowboys fans and Buffalo fans. I saw a few of you guys in there. Appreciate everyone who was watching. Thank you so much. Finstanza, what? Didn't you say something like the whole show?
No, I did not, you asshole. Just bad words. Final words. We need to channel our 70s look today. But for Bobby's sake, for Brett's sake, and for all the Fins Talk Sports Network family, the Dolphins better win. Right, Bobby? Or
Yes.
what's going to happen on postgame? Holy crap.
Finstanza will be hosting by himself because I don't want to hear it. No, I'm just playing. We'll
Brett,
have
coming
postgame
back
tonight.
You better be coming back tonight. No excuse. There's no
I'm
work
going to
tomorrow.
try to. Let's see how the kids are, but I'm definitely going to try
I have
to.
3 kids. What you do is you lock them in a padded room.
Listen, it's Christmas Eve. Don't be ragging on people.
See, if I don't want to get the belt for my wife.
Whoa. Okay.
And Josh, maybe
Okay.
you're welcome to come back too.
You thought Flores is hard on Tua.
so
Wait till you see
I
my
will-
wife yell at me.
Yeah, I mean, Bobby has to hear about it at work if the Cowboys win.
Yeah, I will hear about it.
I would just solemnly, slowly, pat him on the shoulder. It's like it's gonna be okay.
I gotta
He does
block
that.
Wingate and Eric's number.
There you go. All right, guys. Thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate you. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. God bless. If you're a Dolphins fan, like most of us on the panel are, 3 out of 2, subscribe, and most importantly, fins up. Here's a final shot here. We're going to go with Caneswear at Miami Fanswear. Guys, Christmas is tomorrow, and they're open. You got some last minute shopping to do. You want to get some Dolphin stuff for your friends. Dolphins, Hurricanes, Marlins, Heat. Go to Caneswear, and we'll wrap it up after that. Appreciate you all. Like, subscribe, fins up.
Hey, Miami sports fans. Stop by Caneswear today at 2655 South University Drive in Davie, Florida. And check out their awesome merchandise selection of your favorite South Florida sports teams. From the Miami Dolphins, Hurricanes, Heat, Marlins, Florida Panthers, and Inter Miami, they've got it all. Celebrate your favorite team and show off your fandom with their beautiful team starter jackets, killer-looking helmets, team jerseys, cool shirts, and more. And if you are out of town or out of state, no worries. Go to Caneswear.com and find everything they have on their site. Select what you want, and they will ship your gear to you. Anything over $99 is shipped for free. Don't wait. Stop at Caneswear today.